Hey everyone, it's the Wayward Llama back again. I'm just starting up a Minecraft server here. So, I just came back from the Man of Steel. So yeah, basically what I've been wanting to do like movie reviews for a while. What the hell? Oh, water. Hello, water. Alright, I'm playing on the Xbox edition because I am a loser and my computer doesn't really work too well at the moment. In fact, I'm kind of surprised I can record these videos. Alright, this is going to be a bit longer than I usually want to make these because this is my first time doing a review of like a movie. I did one of a game before for Black Ops 2, but this is more of a format I want to do. Well, actually, I would like to get a webcam eventually, just do it like that, but maybe get like some clips from the movie, like trailers and stuff, but I'm poor. Anyway, so yeah, basically I've been wanting to do this for a while, movie reviews, and this is the first time I ever really felt like I had material to do it. The Man of Steel. Alright, so basically how I'm going to leave this, I'm going to go into this, I'm going to give you like a general review in the beginning, and then I'll go into spoiler territory towards the second half. I will give you fair warning though, if you intend to see this. Alright. I am practicing my multitasking here. Yeah, but, I'm sorry. I have never been left this emotionally conflicted by a movie before. Now, for a bit of like a opening, let me just say, to compare it to like the Batman trilogy. Well, okay, that's unfair, but like, okay, basically what I thought of the Batman trilogy by Nolan as well. I thought it was actually pretty good. I liked it for the most part. I wasn't nearly as into the third movie as other people were. I thought it was lacking from everything that made the first two movies like great. But it was still a decent film. What I'll say, I don't know. This really didn't live up to that standard. I was enraged at the first half of the movie. Like, I was ready to walk out of the theater, go find every single person responsible, cast and crew, rip out their entrails, hang them by it, and let them dry out in the in the harsh, unforgiving sun. Letting them suffer for everything that first half of the movie was. Then the second half, while still not that great, got a lot closer to what I kind of wanted from a Superman movie. Really, the first half was a lot of exposition. Now, exposition is fine, of course. Exposition is important, especially for a movie. You know what, let me turn off this music. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, exposition is good for a movie. I mean, yeah, especially for a movie. In any form of medium, it's understandable. You can't always tell every single bit of a story. And honestly, for Superman's backstory, it's a really simple backstory. You don't need to do that much with it, because honestly, most of the audience is already going to know what they're working with here. But, I mean, there must be the rare person who doesn't, but even then, they kind of go into it again and again. And this isn't like Batman Begins, where there's a lot of changes to the backstory. I might be wrong, I'm not nearly as into the comics, but to my knowledge, this was pretty much the standard setup. I don't really think I'm spoiling anything for you here. Kid's planet blows up, kid's parents send him to Earth, kid grows up on a farm in Kansas. There's really no change there. Yeah, however, the second, like, so basically it's a lot, like, the first movie is a lot of, like, the first half of the movie, you can tell I've rehearsed this, and I am just so ready for this. I'm not just turning on my mic and, recording something because I was bored, and, yeah, sorry about that. That's my bird in the background, Zeus. You'll often hear him on a lot of my videos. Anyway, ranting, angrily, where was I? Oh, yes. Well, that wasn't really that angry, right? Meh. I could get angrier, but it's really, that second half of the movie just left me feeling very weird about it. Anyway, yeah. Where was I? No, I didn't get to him yet. I didn't get to Zod yet. Yeah, first half of the movie, standard backstory. Yeah, I was left just angry. Like, I was just, at first it was boredom. I was like, really? Are we gonna go through this entire thing? But then we went through this entire thing twice. It really did not have to be as long as it was. So this first half of the movie, it's like sprinkled with like flashbacks as well. I don't mind the flashbacks. I think they can be a good mechanic. But they feel really all over the place. Now, they normally like translate in a way that makes sense, like when they happen at a point in time when it makes sense. But it's like suddenly he's a kid, and then suddenly he's a teenager, and then suddenly he's a kid again, and then suddenly he's nearly grown up, and yeah. The second half of the movie, however, when he starts actually fighting people, fighting the main villains, Zod, I don't think I'm spoiling anything there, that gets a lot better. Honestly, okay, you know what, a lot's not right. I feel like I was so relieved that I didn't have to sit through all that other stuff for the rest of the movie. Because I'll be honest, I went into this hearing some pretty bad things. As I do more of these reviews, I'm gonna stop watching so many reviews before. But no, like I was sitting there bored out of my mind. My parents kept giving me dirty looks. I went to see this with my parents because they like movies and they were curious about this one. They liked the first half, and I'll get into that later, probably like towards the end when I'll just break this entire concept down and just go straight into like a rant. Yeah, all in all, like the second half though, yeah, once he starts fighting everyone, it gets a lot more like what I would expect a Superman movie to be. Because Superman is not a very developed character. And this movie doesn't even really make an effort to... I can't tell if they were trying to make an effort to make him one or not. Because if they were bad at it. Oh God, they were. Because it was just bland exposition dialogue. Like, not even the flashbacks, every part of the movie was just bland exposition dialogue. And him occasionally showcasing a cool power. Even then, that wasn't really that exciting, and people were, like, acting really out of character. A Coast Guard guy is literally saying, forget about them, they're dead, when there's, like, this flaming oil rig. Yes, because you've dedicated your life to rescuing people in need, and that's going to be where you go? You're going to say, forget about them, they're dead. That was like, I was confused at that one. Yeah, second half. But yeah, no, more of the fighting, I guess. The fighting and all that, like, the fight scenes were pretty good. There's still the occasional bit of really dumb dialogue sprinkled in there. But then there's some that has potential, and then they drop it again. And the way they ended off, I'll get to that. I'm really nearing the spoiler section of this video. I'll give you the exact moment where you may just want to switch this off if you haven't already. Yeah, I am really Minecrafting well, as you can see, and by well I mean terribly. Normally I'm good at multitasking, but something about like recording has always been tough. You'll notice like my update videos are like, oh God, I keep doing this. Anyway, movie, angry, yeah. Just this entire last half, I felt like it had potential. That's what bothers me. Like, had it been written a bit differently, like maybe changing some of the characteristics of like, I don't know. I don't really know what could have been done better. That's what bugs me. Ooh. Anyway, but there was like a lot of dialogue where like I saw like the perfect openings for like different things, for like witty one-liners, like amazing monologue, like an amazing monologue at the end. You know what? I'll save that for the spoiler section. Basically, the second half was a lot more action and a lot less talking and a lot less of it becoming how blatantly obvious of a very bland archetype Superman is. Don't get me wrong, I've occasionally seen a point where he shows a bit more character, and had maybe they done that with this movie, I wouldn't have minded it. I'm sure like some severe like he seems to showcase like a bit of anger and like anger issues as like a kid, and like had like maybe like they done that like where Superman just has like this uncontrollable anger issue or like severe anxiety. He seems to have like he's very overwhelmed by the world around him as a kid because he knows he's not like part of him knows he's not from it. All right, you know at this point, so I'm just gonna give you the general score. I would say I was just angry at the first part. I'm not as angry now that I've had time to sit away from it, but I can understand the rage of a lot of critics I've seen. A lot of them like the Cinema Snob, Spoonie, well, Brad Jones technically. A lot of the ones I follow, they were all a lot of them were very angry. I saw the occasional one who was either like meh or actually liked it. Like Angry Joe apparently loves this movie. I don't know why I'm talking about other. Okay, general score. I should be talking about other reviewers. General score. I would give it like a. This isn't gonna be a number, but meh. Because I was so angry at the second part that I'm like, oh, this isn't that bad, but it was still lacking at times. At times it felt like they could have done more with the action scenes. The way it ends, alright, we've officially entered spoiler sections. The way it ends, his big climactic fight with Zod, ends rather strangely. He just snaps Zod's neck. Like, there wasn't... Was that all it took? Because it really felt like they were having a hard time fighting each other. And then suddenly just, he snaps Zod's neck. Movie basically over. I don't know what to say to that. The effects were pretty good as well. Well, at times there was the occasional. The fights were mostly CGI, but I'll give them that. I mean, it's Superman. It kind of has to be. You can't really do too many ground fights with him. Zeus, shut up. Sorry, he really likes chiming in when I'm doing stuff. Like, if I'm getting talkative, he'll try to talk to me, and we're kind of in the same room, and it's like 1 a.m. actually, so I can't really record anywhere else in the house. Yeah, but, man, I've never been left this conflicted, because, yeah, it was basically a lot of exposition for the entire first half. Russell Crowe being the father, and somehow he makes a reappearance with a surprisingly sentient hologram. I know that's actually kind of a thing, I think, in the actual, like, main series. Or, like, in some ways, so I'm not going to question that one too much. Some really dumb decisions, though, like, the way Zod and his crew get back. So, it seems, so Russell Crowe comes in at the beginning, he's like, alright, he tells them, yeah, I warned you, all the planet's going to explode, and they're like, they seem to recognize that the planet's going to explode. They don't seem to be questioning it at all, like I've seen some incarnations. Oh, like, you're silly, Joel. No, they were like, well, yeah, but what do you expect us to do? We're running low on resources. It was like, and then it gets all preachy and all that. Then Zod comes in and blasting stuff away. Military coup. Alright. So, this coup is eventually defeated after a lot of people get killed. So, apparently, instead of sentencing them to death, they send them into this black hole. I could maybe get this if they weren't about to all die anyway. And they made it sound like there was like a definite amount, like there was a finite amount of time they would be in there, like 300 years. Why? It made it sound like, at least. Correct me if you're like a fan and like maybe you know something else that I didn't. Like, I'm talking like a hardcore fan. I feel like I understood at least in the context of the movie, but I might be wrong. Why would you send your prisoners into a black hole that they will eventually emerge from. If the rest of your race is about to die in like a couple weeks, would you really want that part of your race being, you know, that's the part that survives? No. I mean, they already sent the kid out. So what else do you really... why would you do that? I get that they had to get Zod there somehow, I guess. And the moment the planet is destroyed, they kind of come out of it. Which, then they just rig up a way using their ship to like make like a faster than light drive, and they go to Earth. Well, actually, they don't go to Earth immediately. But yeah. Now, I was intrigued by Zod's betrayal, and portrayal, not betrayal, portrayal. Words has due. It is 1:30 a.m. now. Actually, this is going a bit longer than I thought. Yeah. So. But back on Earth, so Clark's adjusting to Earth, and honestly, like I said, this could have been a lot shorter, because it's a lot of the same stuff. Him feeling out of place, him doing crap. Yeah, they also kept spending a lot of time in flashbacks. And, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Jonathan Kent tend to actually, like, doesn't he, like, live to die of old age in the comics? He seems to get killed off a lot in things. In like non-comic book material. He seems to get killed off a hell of a lot. I guess because people want something in common with Spider-Man? No, that's not really the mechanic that you need. Because he doesn't... I feel like I don't really feel like that adds... Well, you can't really add to the character of Superman. He is an archetype. He's not really... There's not a huge amount you can do with him and have him still really be Superman. Otherwise, just there was a lot of stuff I could go on about, like the strange ideas the villains had. At one point in time, they took both Superman and Lois Lane onto this ship. I get like why they would get Superman. This is Zod's crew, man. Zod onto like their spaceship. Zod took them onto their spaceship. I get why they wanted Superman, because they wanted to like figure out, apparently like Superman has like the genetic coding of every Kryptonian ever in his blood. Something called the Codex, and that's actually that was interesting, I guess. They didn't really do much with that, and honestly, I guess like it was kind of symbolic. Like he's all that remains of Krypton. Well, he's all that should remain of Krypton, the good parts of it. Because they go into it like Zod wants to rebuild Krypton because he's the defender of Krypton. And he was kind of born to be oh god damn it. He was born to be the defender of Krypton. Which in a like that was his destiny. That was his role. And I kind of like that mechanic. I mean, this is kind of my first time experiencing this. Maybe this was like it when like the other movie incarnation of Zod. Maybe it's like this in the comics. I don't have a lot of experience with Superman, so this is not from like a diehard Superman fan's perspective. Let's just make that clear. Running. I thought the dynamic was interesting. The Guardian of Earth versus the Guardian of Krypton. A dying empire versus, like, not a dying empire. The last remnant of a dead empire versus his counterpart, who's also from the same race technically, but has dedicated his life to protecting Earth. And there's actually this very awesome monologue after Superman basically goes in, wrecks shit, and kills off most of Zod's crew. There's a lot of death in this movie. That's not a criticism, I'm just noticing that. I'm pretty sure that's a higher casualty count than any of the Batman movies. I'm pretty sure Gotham City is no longer the worst place to live in America. Going by all the shit that went down in that city. There was just rubble, nothing but rubble. Smallville wasn't left much better either. And I'll be honest, a lot more of that damage was done by Superman than it was done by anyone else. Oh god. Yeah, I really don't. I'm trying to figure out what. Well, yeah, there's like this awesome monologue where he's going on about how he's the defender of Krypton. It's Harbinger. His people are his soul, and it's his job to defend them no matter what it takes. And it felt like they were setting up for like this awesome like rebuttal as like Superman just like kicks Zod's ass. At least I would have done that. Like if I were writing, I would have. So like he just starts beating the living crap out of Zod, and just before he finishes him off, he's going off about how he's the defender of Earth, maybe like repeating it nearly word for word what Zod said. Again, this is just kind of what I would do. But they don't really, and then just finishing him off. But they don't do that. They kind of drop that right then and there, and then they just keep fighting. Then it seems like they're building up again, like Zod's going on about how he was bred to be a warrior. He's meant to fight. That's his job. He's gonna fight till the end. And he's a better fighter than Superman because he grew up on a farm. Because Superman grew up on a farm. Well, yeah, that's another thing. They call him Superman all of 3 times, I think. Twice in the same dialogue. They call him Clark Kent more. I don't really know if he really has a secret identity anymore. At least not with the government. Which I don't know if maybe he didn't to begin with, but yeah, there's just they don't do that with Zod. They just end up beating each other up, destroying entire chunks of Metropolis, killing a bunch more innocent people. You know, all the things Superman was supposed to be defending. And then he ends up grappling Zod as Zod tries to use laser vision. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Heat vision to like fry fry a family just to prove a point to Superman. And then Superman just snaps his neck. It felt really anticlimactic. I'm not really exaggerating that at all. That's pretty much what happens. He's grappling Zod, and like he has him in a chokehold. Zod's trying to teach him a lesson. Then he just snaps Zod's neck. No like amazing one-liner. No like, I mean, okay, Superman's not really a one-liner type. He's not like that cheesy, but you know, like no amazing comeback to every valid point Zod raised. This is one of those situations where I kind of felt like I agree. Well, I didn't agree with the villain, but I understood him. I understood that he was just trying to protect what he was purely doing what he was meant to do. And that, yeah, he didn't really, at least, he didn't feel he had much choice in the matter. And even if he had choice in the matter, I don't think he was still evil. He wasn't, well, evil in a sense. I mean, then we could get into like all the question of like, what is evil, blah blah blah. That's not for today. All right, this is going on much longer than I expected. Yeah, but all in all, just there was a lot of stuff. If you have any other questions about the movie, you feel like there's something I left out, leave a question in the comments. I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. I'll open it up with spoilers if it pertains to do with spoilers. I don't think I'm gonna get a lot of views for this because I don't know many people who click on like random 23-minute videos, but hopefully if this can gain traction, I would like to do like not just movie reviews but music reviews, music, game. I don't really watch much TV, or I would say that as well. Yeah. All in all, like the second half, like, but there's still all those fights. Those were still good. It just, they weren't good enough, I guess, to make it worth it for me. All in all, I'll give this film a meh. The second half was redeeming enough that I will not say it's a terrible film, but it's not a good film. And I'm really disappointed because I mean, I wasn't expecting as good as Batman, because Batman is really just, it's the character of Batman that really carries him, like carries that series. Superman really doesn't have that character. He's more of an archetype. I don't really much care for Superman, in all honesty. But, I mean, I'm really trying to not let that affect my views here. I don't dislike him, I guess. I never really cared too much. Which, yeah, I knew I wasn't going to be, like, loving this as much. And I'm trying to keep that in mind when I review this. Do I think anyone will enjoy this? I think I've seen diehard fanboys of the Superman series who just love it. But I don't think they... But again, I consider them fanboys. Because I'm a fanboy of certain series. There are just certain things that can do no wrong in my eyes, even if someone laid out every logical reason it was bad or had flaws. Which everything has flaws. Yeah, it really meh. That's kind of where I am with it, because wow, just yeah, I was enraged. It was nothing but like pointless exposition. No character was really developed. It was all Superman backstory. Like, yeah, I know this. All right, this has not gone as well as I'd hoped. Hopefully next time I do one of these, which I kind of plan to, next time I see a movie, I'll be a lot more awake. And I'll be able to focus a lot more, and like I'll probably like write down talking points. This was way too improvised. All right. Well, yeah. Danocraftia. If you follow that, well, Minecraft, Danocraftia. I call it a few things. The Minecraft series, basically, that I've been working on. That's kind of on hold for a while. I've been doing a lot of stuff. I've been doing some work for my parents' company. Basically, I need money, and honestly, it's not like I'm gaining much views to begin with, and doesn't bug me too much. This was always kind of meant to be a hobby, and I do have other hobbies outside of this. Like I play a lot of D&D. I've thought about recording some of my sessions and like putting them up here as well. If you might be interested in that, leave a comment. Otherwise, yeah, make sure to follow me on Twitter, The Wayward Llama, at The Wayward Llama, all one word, of course, no underscores. As well, Daniel W. Smock, but that's more just like I kind of just tweet about random stuff. That's my personal Twitter. Otherwise, yeah, have a nice day. I'm sorry for wasting 30 minutes of your time. But I hope you don't go see that movie. I would not recommend seeing it in theaters. Maybe as a rental if you're at least just curious. But only if that's like Redbox it. Now don't buy it. Redbox $1. Just don't buy the movie. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Have a nice day.